sometimes the people you trust most hold the sharpest knives, and Samuel learned this truth on a night when the rain fell like tears from heaven itself. It was midnight. The city slept under a blanket of storm clouds, but Samuel stood wide awake. He stood outside the glass doors of the building he helped create, the building where he poured 15 years of his life, the building where he became CEO just 3 months ago. But tonight, those doors were locked. In his trembling hand was a letter, soaked, ink bleeding into the rain, the words barely readable, but he did not need to read them again. He had memorized every cruel line. Effective immediately, your position has been terminated. The board has voted. The company has been sold. Sold. Not transferred, not restructured, sold. Behind his back, without his knowledge, without his signature. Samuel's chest tightened. His breath came shallow and fast. He looked up at the windows on the 3rd floor. The lights were off. No one was there. No one cared. His best friend since childhood, his brother in everything but blood, the man he trusted with his life, that man had done this. That man had signed the papers, shaken hands with strangers, and walked away with millions. And Samuel? Samuel got a letter in the rain. He pressed his hand against the cold glass. His reflection stared back at him. A man in a soaked suit. A man with a son waiting at home. A man whose world had just collapsed in silence. The rain poured harder. Samuel did not scream. He did not pound on the door. He did not curse the sky. He simply closed his eyes and breathed. Because this was only the beginning.
Losing a job is one thing. Losing everything is another. Within 2 weeks, the consequences came crashing down like dominoes. Samuel's bank account was frozen. Legal disputes, fraud investigations. His name dragged through the mud by lawyers he could not afford to fight. The house went next. The small 2-bedroom home where his son took his first steps, where they ate breakfast together every Sunday, where Samuel read bedtime stories under a blanket fort. Gone, foreclosed. Locks changed while he was at the courthouse trying to prove his innocence. And then came the worst part. Social services knocked on the door of the motel where Samuel and his son had been staying. They said he was unfit, unstable, homeless, unable to provide. They said it was temporary. They said it was for the boy's safety. Samuel watched them drive away with his son crying in the back seat. The boy pressed his small hands against the window. His mouth formed the word "Daddy." Samuel stood in the parking lot long after the car disappeared. He did not cry. He did not shout. He just stood there, holding the only thing he had left, a photograph. His son, smiling, holding a toy truck, taken 3 months ago when life still made sense. That night, Samuel walked the city streets with nothing but the clothes on his back and that photograph in his pocket. He had no family to call, no savings to fall back on, no friends left who believed his side of the story. But he did have something, a quiet, unshakable belief, a belief that this was not the end, a belief that faithfulness in the dark would lead to light. He whispered a prayer into the cold night air. Let me be faithful in little. Let me prove I can be trusted again. And he kept walking. 6 months later, Samuel wore a different uniform. Not a tailored suit, not polished shoes, a green vest, a name tag, and a mop in his hands. He worked at Gardner's Grocery on the east side of town, 3rd shift, midnight to 8 in the morning, cleaning floors, stocking shelves, taking out trash, the kind of work people do not notice until it is not done. And Samuel did it without complaint. Every night, he arrived 15 minutes early. Every task he completed with care. Every customer who spoke to him, he answered with respect. Most people did not recognize him, but a few did. A few who used to call him Mr. Hayes, Mr. CEO. A few who used to ask for his advice, his signature, his approval. Now they walked past him in the aisles without a second glance. One night, a woman stopped her cart near aisle 12. She looked at him, really looked. Her eyes widened. Wait, Samuel? Samuel Hayes? He looked up from mopping, smiled gently. Yes, ma'am. Her face flushed. I heard what happened. I'm so sorry. Samuel nodded. Thank you, but I am fine, really. She hesitated. Are you working here? I am, and I am grateful for it. She did not know what to say, so she smiled sadly and walked away. But Samuel did not feel shame. He felt something else, something most people never find in success. He felt peace, Because while his hands mopped floors, his mind was working. Every night, between stocking shelves and cleaning spills, Samuel watched. He watched how people shopped, what they needed, what frustrated them, what made them smile. He carried a small notebook in his vest pocket, and every break he wrote. Ideas, observations, plans. He was building something, quietly, carefully, from nothing. And no one knew. It started with a conversation. Samuel was on his lunch break sitting in the back room with his notebook when a young cashier named Emma sat down across from him. "You always writing in that thing," she said, munching on a sandwich. "What is it, a diary?" Samuel smiled. "Something like that." "Can I ask what you write about?" He hesitated, then decided to trust. "Ideas. For a business." Emma's eyes lit up. "Really? What kind of business?" And so Samuel told her. He told her about a model built on trust, on fair pricing, on treating customers like family and employees like partners. A business that put people first, not just profit. Emma listened, and when he finished, she said something Samuel would never forget. "I would work for a place like that." Over the following weeks, others joined the conversation. There was Marcus, an old mechanic who fixed cars in his garage and hated corporate greed. There was Linda, a single mother who worked 2 jobs and dreamed of something better for her kids. They met in the break room, in parking lots, at diners after shifts. They shared ideas. They challenged each other. They believed. Samuel showed them his plans, rough sketches, financial models scribbled on napkins, a name he had chosen. Foundations. Because every great thing is built on a strong foundation, and ours will be trust. Marcus slapped the table. "I'm in." Linda nodded, tears in her eyes. "Me too." Emma grinned. "When do we start?" They had no money, no investors, no office. But they had something more valuable. They had belief. They had each other. And they had a man who refused to quit. Late at night after his grocery store shift, Samuel worked. He filed paperwork, he built a website on a library computer, he called suppliers and negotiated deals. He did everything alone, but he was never lonely, because he carried his son's photograph in his pocket, and every night he whispered the same promise: "I am coming for you. I am building something worthy of you." The seed was planted. The storm was not over, but the roots were growing deep.
3 years passed. 3 years of 16-hour days, 3 years of sacrifice, 3 years of building foundations brick by brick, customer by customer, decision by decision. And then something unexpected happened. Foundations exploded. It started small, word of mouth, 5-star reviews, customers who felt respected, employees who felt valued, a business model so simple and honest that people could not believe it was real. But it was. Within 18 months, Foundations opened 5 locations, then 10, then 20. The revenue doubled, then tripled. Media outlets called Samuel a visionary, an innovator, a man who built an empire from nothing. But Samuel never forgot where he came from. Every new employee started at the bottom, just like he did. Every customer was treated like family. Every decision was rooted in trust. Meanwhile, the company that betrayed him crumbled. Greed had rotted it from the inside. The new owners cut corners, lied to customers, exploited workers. The reputation collapsed, lawsuits piled up, revenue plummeted. And then the inevitable happened: bankruptcy. Samuel heard the news on a Tuesday morning. He was in his office reviewing contracts when Emma knocked on his door. "Someone is here to see you," she said carefully. "You are not going to believe who it is." Samuel looked up. "Who?" She hesitated. "Your old partner, the one who..." She did not need to finish. Samuel's heart pounded. He stood slowly. "Send him in." The door opened, and there he stood, older, thinner, worn. The confidence gone, the arrogance erased. His name was Thomas, and once upon a time, he was Samuel's best friend. Thomas stepped inside. His hands shook. His voice cracked. "Samuel, He could not finish. The words choked in his throat. Samuel stood silent, watching, waiting. Thomas fell into the chair across the desk. He buried his face in his hands. "I destroyed everything. The company's gone. My reputation is gone. My family's gone. I have nothing left." Samuel sat down slowly, his face unreadable. Thomas looked up with red eyes. I know I do not deserve this. I know what I did to you, but I am begging you, please. I need help. I need a job. Anything. The room was silent. Samuel leaned back in his chair. He studied the man who once betrayed him, the man who stole his life. And then Samuel spoke. Do you remember what I used to say, Thomas, back when we started? He who is faithful in little will be trusted with much. Thomas's face crumpled, tears rolled down his cheeks. Samuel stood, walked to the window, looked out at the city. I will give you a job, Thomas. Thomas gasped. You will? Yes. Thomas stood, hope flooding his face. Thank you, Samuel. I will do anything. Samuel turned. His eyes were kind, but firm. You will clean floors. Thomas froze. You will start at the bottom, just like I did. You will mop, you will stock, you will take out trash, and you will learn what I learned. Humility is the floor that greatness stands on. Thomas stood speechless. Then slowly he nodded. I understand. Samuel extended his hand. Welcome to Foundations. Thomas shook it, and for the first time in years, he felt something he thought he had lost forever: hope.
Months later, Samuel walked through the main building of Foundations early in the morning. The place hummed with purpose. Employees greeted him warmly. Customers smiled. The air smelled of fresh coffee and honest work. He passed through the main floor, past the customer service desk where Emma now served as operations manager, past the offices where Marcus oversaw logistics, past the break room where Linda trained new hires, and then he reached the back hallway. There, on his knees with a bucket and mop, was Thomas. He wore the same green vest Samuel once wore. His hands were red from work. His face was tired but peaceful. Samuel stopped, watched quietly. Thomas looked up, saw him, straightened. Morning, sir, Thomas said respectfully. Samuel smiled gently. Morning, Thomas. How are you? Thomas glanced at his mop, then back at Samuel. I'm learning, sir. Learning what? Thomas paused. His voice was thick with emotion. That nothing in this world is beneath me. That every job has dignity. That faithfulness is not about the title you hold. It is about the character you build. Samuel felt his chest tighten. He nodded slowly. Keep going, Samuel said quietly. You are on the right path. Thomas's eyes glistened. Thank you, Samuel, for giving me this chance. Samuel placed a hand on his shoulder. We all deserve a second chance, Thomas, but we have to earn it. He continued walking, past the offices, past the break rooms, past the noise and the hustle. He climbed the stairs to his office and stood at the window looking down at the city. Somewhere out there, his son was living with a foster family, but Samuel had something now: stability, income, a home, and next month he had a court date, a chance to bring his boy back. He pulled the photograph from his pocket, stared at his son's smiling face. Almost there, buddy, almost home. A knock came at the door. Emma stepped in with the folder. Boss, we just got the numbers for last quarter. You need to see this. Samuel turned. Good news? She grinned. We are now the largest employer in the region, and our customer satisfaction is the highest in the industry. Samuel smiled, not with pride, but with gratitude. That is because we treat people right, Emma. That is the only secret. She nodded. What you built here, Samuel, it is special. He looked back out the window. I did not build it alone. As Emma left, Samuel stood in silence. He thought about everything he lost, everything he found, everything he learned. The world told him to seek revenge, to crush his enemies, to take what was stolen. But he chose a different path. He chose faithfulness, humility, grace. And in the end, those things built something far greater than revenge ever could. He whispered a prayer of thanks, then sat at his desk and got back to work. Because the story was not over, it was just beginning. Faithfulness in little leads to trust in much. And Samuel had finally learned the greatest lesson of all. You do not rise by stepping on others. You rise by lifting yourself and then reaching back to pull others up with you, even those who once pushed you down, especially them.